Hey, Jeff, just want to ask, after a tough offensive performance like that, going into the next week, do you have to, do some things maybe to help get their confidence back up, or do you hope that maybe getting Dylan Gabriel back and tinkering with on-field stuff will maybe help in that regard?
Yeah, I think the realization of having to play better and coach better is there, but I think we've got guys in the room that are also very understanding of the fact that we're capable. We've seen us be capable, and so that it wasn't too long ago that we were playing a heck of a lot better, and getting back to that, we're going to be able to do.
We're just going to go right down the line here, Bob.
Yeah, Jeff, it seemed like Saturday was like a showcase of backup quarterbacks, Kentucky, Bama, Aggies, etc. So how tough is it to try to develop that quarterback depth when they're not even there for like spring ball, when Davis in general are showing up in the summer?
Right. There's still, at the end of the day, the expectation is to coach better first and play better secondly. With that being said, obviously a very short amount of time that Davis has been here to get him up to speed with how we want to operate and how we want to do things. But again, the expectation is to play a heck of a lot better and coach a heck of a lot better.
Jeff, with the results that you've seen from Davis so far, will you try to reopen, the competition for the backup job for the game against Kansas? And then if you could talk about Kansas's defense, they're known more for offense, at least coming into this game, but what do you see out of their defense?
Yeah, and again, Davis, he wants a couple of things back. I think I could have done a better job creating a little bit of rhythm for him and a couple of things that maybe would have been a little bit put him at ease a little bit. Didn't open it up at all, obviously, in the second half, so played inside a box a little bit too much. But at the same time, Davis, again, the reason he got the start is because what he had done from the first day he got here until Saturday. So that doesn't go unnoticed either. Kansas defensively, this is a group that's playing with a ton of confidence. They've done a really good job in a lot of different areas this year. They've been great against the run, and they got a group of guys that's playing with a ton of confidence and a ton of energy and a ton of passion. It jumps off the tape. Those guys have done an unbelievable job creating belief and energy and juice, and they're playing with it right now.
Jeff, I know it takes 11 players playing together to have success on offense, but I want to ask you, with all the different packages that you had, or the different Wildcat looks you had to give on Saturday, is that just a testament to the youth and experience in that room? And are you surprised it hasn't evolved to a spot where you wouldn't have to run a Wildcat package 20 plus times in a game?
Yeah, again, I think it's hard on our guys to be able to go play the way we want to play when, in all reality, man, they haven't been here long. And got here in the summer, had fall camp. Would we like to do some things a little differently and a little better? I think that's a very obvious statement, but did feel like the Wildcat stuff gave us a chance to create an advantage, have a little more control from a game management standpoint in the first half, and felt like that was what was going to create an edge for us.
How much of a challenge is it when you look at that position, both as a coordinator and quarterbacks themselves? The bar is real high over the past 5-10 years at this position. How much of a challenge is it with those high expectations for both you as a coach, them as players?
Yeah, I think the realization in the room is that our expectations are set by us and us understanding how we want to play, how we want to operate, how we want to do things. And we've got a group of guys that set the expectation bar really, really high. So that's where it all starts. And again, those guys will continue to get better and continue to get developed, and we'll continue to put them in better situations.
Ryan?
Yeah, Jeff, when you look at the quarterback room, how do you manage the sort of the psyche of that group? One, before going into this game with as much as you planned on using the Wildcat, and two, especially those guys who didn't play or didn't play very much after what we saw on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's just the entire group understanding that we've got to do whatever it takes to find a way to score points and at the end of the day ultimately be +1. And I think all those guys understanding that in the room, they're great teammates. They're incredibly unselfish. They want to do whatever is best for the football team, and getting them to that point was important for us, and those guys have stayed true to that.
Any worry about keeping them on that path after what happened on Saturday?
No, I think we've got a group that's going to respond the right way, that understands what it takes to be a good unit and to be a good team. And so that's what we're expecting moving forward.
Eli?
With Dylan, you've had the luxury of a quarterback who knew your system coming in here. Did last week, whether it was in preparation or on game day, teach you anything you didn't know about this offense and trying to get kind of people going in it?
No, I think still, what we tried to do those first 5 drives, we felt like was the best thing to give us the opportunity to go score points and win the game. The surprise was that we didn't execute well. We didn't play very well. I obviously didn't coach very well. And that was the surprise more than anything, is that, we have played a heck of a lot better than we played on Saturday, and the expectation is for us to play at a high level every single time we're out, regardless of who's taking the snap. And ultimately, as a group, we didn't do that and fell very, very short of where we wanted to be.
Ryan Chapman?
As a play caller, do you buy into the concept of a guy that's like a gamer that just shows you something different on Saturdays than what happens in the week in practice?
I do not. I truly believe there comes a lot of confidence through preparation and wanting to be able to call a play and know what the outcome is going to be. We talk about predictable outcomes all the time, and that's something that to me is incredibly important. You got to be able to take care of the football, got to be able to call the play and have a really good idea of what's going to happen before we snap the ball. So that's how we operate.
Not a consideration when for 3 quarters, if you give a guy and you're not getting the production you need, if you don't see it during the week, it's not something you're just throw a guy in there and see if it's different.
If a guy's not had a good week at practice and not prepared the right way or whatever the case may be, then it's not right for me to be able to put him in a situation in a game and think that all of a sudden it's going to change.
Hey, Jilo Farouk ran the ball well for you guys last game and did good on kick returns, specifically in the game against TCU. Can you kind of just speak to his versatility, how you can kind of put him in multiple positions and have him have success?
Yeah, Lil's he's been good when the ball's been in his hands. He's got to continue to stress and strain as we try to get him the football down the field. Making plays down the field will be something that we've got to continue to get better at. But he has, when the ball has been in his hands, he's done a nice job.
Okay, second row, John Shea.
When you have a week like last week where you're basically wasn't your base offense, it's year one in your offense, did having to go through a week like that, I'm not talking about the game, but the preparation for it, kind of set you back a little bit as far as, we're moving the offense along?
Again, the frustration and the disappointment is how we played. I think that's all part of football, stepping in the arena and understanding you're going to have to prepare different ways every single week, depending on who's available, who's not available. To me, that's why they call us coach. I did a bad job. Our guys didn't play well. We didn't play well, didn't coach well, and that's ultimately what is most disappointing about Saturday.
Back left, John Hoover.
Jeff, just curious, what was General's status going into Saturday? Was he prepped and ready to go? Did he have any issues or anything that held him back?
No, he was prepped and ready to go. He had a minor deal pregame, but General had a good week. And he was another guy that obviously has been in the room, not for a great amount of time, but has continued to strain and fight for his spot and his opportunity. And if that day comes, once it does, I think he'll be ready.
Is that why was on Nick at the end instead of him?
Yeah, just Nick again has done some really good things too. And again, he's put himself in a situation to be right in the mix as well. And so that's why I wanted to get him some reps, get him a little bit of time out there to create that experience for him.
Question about this week in practice. You do away, assuming Dylan might come back this week, you do away with the Wildcat stuff, or at least put it on the back burner.
Yeah, I think everybody understands kind of Dylan's playing. We're a little different for sure.
So, what are some of the areas in the conventional stretch of offense that you would like to run? What are some of the areas that you definitely want to see improvement? You're going to make it out here on the practice field. Where are you guys going to get better?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when we have the opportunity to go run the football and it's getting blocked for 6 yards, gaining more than 6 yards. If we have the opportunity of blocking a play or a picture for a gain of 5 yards, making more than 5 yards, finding ways to win our one-on-ones, not just gaining exactly what's been blocked for us, but making some explosive plays, maybe when the picture is not perfect, finishing, striking, straining, finishing. We've talked about that a ton. And then being able to create explosive plays. I think the last 2 weeks, the biggest frustration, sitting there looking at it from a self-scout standpoint, is we have created no explosive plays in the throw game, which has not been us ever. And that's something that we've got to get better at.
Mason Young.
Yeah, Jeff, you had Marvin and Theo that didn't get a whole ton of touches on Saturday. Whether it's the complexity of what you're doing in the quarterback situation, what do you kind of chalk that up to? And as kind of the older guys in the room, what's those guys' demeanor kind of been like after this game?
Yeah, Marvin, Theo both have been really good from a leadership standpoint, togetherness. I think you talk to those guys and they've done a great job of being the same every single day, being guys that we can count on and lean on. And with the flow of the game and the way things worked out, those guys not getting many opportunities is how it played out, and that's part of the situation that we were in for sure.
Coach, just curious, considering that Wildcat was such a big part of the game plan this past week, we've seen Micah Bowens in spring games here and there. We know he's got some wheels, he can run a little bit. And as a quarterback, I assume he can throw the ball a little bit. Is there any consideration maybe to implement him at all, considering he can run and pass maybe a little bit better than like Eric Gray or Braden Willis?
Right. There's always consideration as long as guys are doing exactly what we're wanting them to do from a preparation standpoint. Not that Micah hasn't, but again, felt like the best chance for us to be able to go operate and do what we wanted to do and do what we needed to do to score points and have an opportunity to win the game was those guys touching the football. We felt like we needed to lean on old guys like Braden Willis, like Eric Gray, guys that have played a bunch of football in that atmosphere, in that game. And obviously, again, the disappointment is in how we played and how we coached and how it ended.